This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, good morning, guys. So, yesterday we were going through some of the properties of the build pipeline, right? Which is our Azure pipeline. Okay, let's go and explore some other properties of our important activities that this pipeline enables it actually. So one of them is we have our MS Build, sorry, not MS Build, Visual Studio Test Task basically, which basically runs the unit test cases what you see in our Visual Studio. Okay, so there are some additional, enablers like parallel test execution, what test to run, etc. That are part of the task basically. They are very important with respect to the time consumption basically. So let's go and explore them. Okay. So let's go to our pipeline .azure.com. Let's go to our project, and then to pipeline, and then let's click on this pipeline and then edit it. So you see in red yesterday we tried to fail this build as well by disabling this one of the scenarios. Let me enable this. Okay, and then let's go to test assemblies. Okay, this is a basically a Visual Studio test. Okay, the name is test assemblies what we given. Okay, but the actual name of this task is Visual Studio test. Okay, so what it can do, as explained, it will run the unit test cases in our .NET project if the selection is test assemblies. Okay, if the selection is a test plan or test run, it will run the test cases created by the testers in the test plans. Okay, most of the times I would say, I mean, not even 1% of the people in the world are using test plans, because the people mostly using other dedicated test tools basically. Okay, not this one, but still Microsoft has provided this opportunity for the testers. Okay, okay, these are default things where this task will go and look for the code. Okay, so you don't need to worry where it will place the results, you don't need to worry. Okay, now this is the important one, test filter criteria. Okay, so you have two options here, run only impacted tests and test mix contains UI test. Okay, this you can forget about this as well. When you run only impacted test, number of builds after which all tests should be run. Okay, there is some 50, let's make it some 5. Okay, so what is this run only impacted tests? Okay, let's try to understand from Visual Studio in a manual way. Okay, why do we need to enable it? Okay, not every time you need it, or not every project you need it. You need it for some projects and with some number of unit test cases, etc. Let me explain. Okay, okay, so we have it is still loading actually. Okay, I'll explain from here as well. Let me go here. Let me open in another tab, this pipelines, open in another tab. Okay, go to the any 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 build run basically. These are these many times we build it, right? So let's click on any one of this previous build, and then you have a tests here. So you have, this is the summary, right? How much time each job took, and how many commits are there in that build. Okay, means for each commit you can run the build as well, right? Or for some multiple commits you can run the build. Means this is a commit is nothing but code changes, isn't it? Okay, let's click on the tests. Okay, when you go to tests, okay, so what you have here, so you have two test cases, they're all successful, zero failed, and others, there is some others which is zero, and it is showing it took 2 seconds 77 milliseconds to run these two test cases. Okay, and since our unit test case doesn't have much code, it took only 2 seconds 774 milliseconds. Imagine if there is some code. Okay, it may take some 3-4 seconds or 4-5 seconds, isn't it? 5 seconds. And imagine you have some 200 unit test cases. Okay, if there are some database related unit test cases, even it may take 2-3 seconds as well, each unit test case. So in some projects you will see, in the project means a project is nothing but your solution, right? In our regular, let us say for our my trip application, if you take it, there might be some 60-70 projects under this solution as well, .NET projects I mean to say. Okay, and if each .NET project is having some 100-200 unit test cases, that is very much possible. You may have some 1,000 unit test cases. Then what happens, even if you take 4 seconds on an average for each unit test cases, it will be 4,000 seconds, isn't it? Sometimes even it may be more. So how much it is basically when you say 4,000 divided by 60, it's almost 66 minutes, isn't it? If you have some 4,000 unit test cases to run, average it is taking some 4 seconds, it will be 66 minutes, isn't it? Okay, and imagine no one can wait for 1 hour for your build to run, right? Okay, let us say these are all incremental, right? Okay, today you have written some 100 unit test cases. Tomorrow it will become 200. Day after tomorrow it will become some 400, like that. So, and every day your continuous integration pipeline, okay, is running your unit test cases. Okay, the whole purpose of continuous integration pipeline is that to identify the issues in the code very early in the life cycle, means during the development itself you need to identify the bugs in the code. That is the reason you run the unit test cases as part of the CI pipeline. Okay, if every CI pipeline execution is taking hours and hours to complete, then it will defeat the purpose of speed to market, right? Speed to market means how fast you can deliver it to the production so that end users can use that application. So it is taking time. That's why what developers will do, they may try to skip the execution of the unit test cases. So that is what is going to happen in your build pipeline as well, right? Okay, in Visual Studio, if it is taking 1 hour, here also it may take easily some 45 to 50 minutes. The reason you may have a very good infrastructure on Azure or on the servers, but still some 45 to 50 minutes is a huge time, and no one can wait for that much time, right? And it will defeat the purpose of CI pipeline because your speed is decreasing in terms of the build run. So how do you address that? So the thing is that you need to run the unit test cases for sure as part of the CI pipeline, but at the same time you need to reduce the amount of time that your CI pipeline is taking. So you need to follow some strategies. Okay, because you should not compromise with the quality. At the same time, you should not skip the execution of the unit test cases. So the strategy here is that, okay, using using this option, run only impacted tests. Okay, what does it mean? Impacted is nothing but every time, I mean, developers write code and they run the unit test cases as well. So they may write unit test cases, there might be already existing unit test cases. Okay, what do you mean by impacted? Run only impacted test cases. Let us say, where is my, okay, let us say this is the test case. This is the test case to test the content, or uh, to test the HTML content here, what we have, the UI. Okay, and if something changes here, some code changed here, okay, that means it impacts your unit test case. Okay, at the same time, you might have written some additional content or some conditions in this unit test case. That means the existing unit test case is impacted. That means the unit test case itself is changed. So two scenarios. Scenario one, this the code in this unit test case did not change, okay, but the code in the actual code what is the unit test case is verifying is changed, means this is changed, so unit test case is impacted. And somebody the existing test case has been modified to add additional logic here. That means this unit test case is impacted. So these are the ways how you can say the unit test cases are impacted. Now imagine you have 10 unit test cases in this project, but when you enable that option, right, run only impacted unit test cases here, it will run only those two test cases. It will not run all the 10 unit test cases, because there is no code change where you need, I mean, there is no code change for the other unit test. That means you don't need to run them. Okay. But what you can do, let us say, for your nightly builds, etc., you can probably run all unit test cases, not only impacted unit test cases. That way, every night you are ensuring that all the unit test cases are running, and I mean verifying the quality of your code, or ensuring that the bugs are not there. But during the daytime, when people are working, you can use this run only impacted test. That means only the tests that are impacted by code, change in code, or change in the unit test case logic. That way you can improve the build time, I mean the time it takes to run this build. Make sense? Hello?
Yes, Purna.
Yes, bro.
Okay. Yeah, so for you it is this one. So this is a strategy. So let me uh, let us say that I changed this additional logic, right? Contact. Let me first let me save this. So let me save this. So yesterday we were doing some changes to our build name for the notifications, etc., right, in the options here. Okay. We just added some string here, right? Online reservation system for the bill number format. I told you, right, you can use some variables as well. So I just went to documentation, got some variables. Okay. You can basically change it to like this as well. What is this? The first variable is team project. That means the project name, that team project name, and the definition name like this one, and then source branch name, which branch it is executing this CA pipeline. The last one is the existing one, basically your date, time, etc. Okay. Okay. And using this, we created a bug basically yesterday, right? Using the automatically new link in this field. Okay. Now we enabled test assemblies, right? And also enable there, uh, there might be some code coverage, etc. Yeah, enable this code coverage as well. Okay. Means it will do some code coverage as well. Okay. Right now if you go to other the previous build, right, there is no coverage mentioned here. I mean, if you see here, it is only showing number of test cases, successful, failed, and time, etc. There is no coverage is mentioning. Now once I run that one, it will do some code coverage as well here, but we don't use that much because we're going to use sonar cube for a comprehensive code coverage and code quality analysis. Okay. So anyways, CA is enabled here, right? Continuous integration is enabled. Okay. Now let's go ahead and run, basically push it. It's on the dev branch. It might have been triggered. Yeah, it's already started, you can see. See, now build format is changed, you see. Build number format. Project name, and then your definition name, build definition name, which is nothing but your CI pipeline name. And then you have this name, and then CI test is the latest commit name I given, basically. That is the revision name, basically. Okay. Now if I open this, let's click this to go inside and see the thing. Okay. Since we mentioned the dependency that, saying that, microservice should be running only after web. That's the reason it will always be second, basically. You see tests and coverage now here. Once it is completed, we can see where it is here. Okay, it is basically now restoring or downloading the reusable components that are there, are referred in the project. That is completed. Now it is compiling the solution. Now test assemblies. Okay, you can see the complete artifacts here I shown yesterday. Okay, one artifact. Okay, now if we go to this definition, okay, it is still running. Let it go, basically. This microservices, it is waiting for the agent because I have only one parallel job, right? So now it will be completed quickly. Done. Okay, once it is completed, you see test coverage 100% succeeded and 18.33% code is covered. That's what it is saying. Okay, let's go and click on this code coverage. Already you have only the tests. The two test cases are successful, means I did not create any impact. Okay, we'll see that. Let's look at this coverage, basically. Now this time it took 19 seconds because I enabled the code coverage, so it took more time, basically. Okay, so click on the code coverage. It should be showing here. Okay, this is helpful for the developers, basically, this coverage. So what it basically saying, only 20% of the code is covered by unit test. That means if there are 1,000 lines of your code, uh, only 200 lines of code is tested by the unit test cases. That's what it means. It is showing. Okay, and it will show you where exactly it is doing. The all these percentages, etc. Okay, uh, the developers can go and look into this one. If you see here, the controllers, it is covered only 45%, etc. So this is known to, the developers basically doesn't go and read all these things. They will go and write the additional unit test cases to improve the, what is say, the code coverage. Okay, let's go and do this. It is saying it has run the two test cases, right? Contact, right? If I go to contact, where is this? uh, Home, contact, I'll remove, I'll say, excuse me. So let me run the push it. Okay, before push it, right? uh, Let me show one more thing. We go to your pipelines, click on this, edit pipeline. So you have a number of unit test cases, sorry, tasks here in your pipeline. Okay, and for each and every task, you have these control options, right? As we seen, and this is where for every task, isn't it? Right, the control options. So one of this is, control options. Okay, uh, even if a previous task has failed unless the build was cancelled, etc. And you also have a custom conditions. Okay, what is this custom conditions? You can run you know you can basically, one of the advantages, or this is the main advantage, I would say, you can specify when this I mean, for what branches you need to run this task. Okay, let us say you don't want to run this task for this dev branch. You can use this, and similar, I mean, the same condition applies, the same facility is available for all the tasks, right? Because this option is there. Okay, now if I already written it, copy, paste it. This you can find in documentation how to write it basically, but this is the format. Okay, you say uncondition, and you have the bracket, open bracket, and close bracket. Okay, in that, if the build is succeeded, and eq means equivalent, inside it is taking the variable, system variable called build.source branch. That means if build.source branch is equal to master branch, then only run this task, otherwise skip this. That is the meaning basically. So this is one expression till here. So you refer to, so this is how you refer to the branch names technically in in Git, not only Azure DevOps, wherever Git is being used. So refs slash heads slash master, the last one is the branch name. The first two letters, I mean two words, refs slash heads, is common basically. If you want to refer to dev branch, you have to replace master with the dev basically. Okay, and these are the system variables. By default, your Azure DevOps is providing build.source branch, etc. Okay, if build.source branch is I mean, if the source branch that is inside this build is master, then only run this one. That's what it is saying. So let me save
Purna,
this.
one question.
Yeah, yeah.
So, why do we need to mention this custom condition when we are configuring a
Okay,
build for a specific branch? Like we are configuring only for a master branch, then why do we need to mention the custom condition that this need to be
okay,
done on its master branch?
okay. Correct, correct. So these are the scenarios basically. Let us say, see, I just taken this task as an example, but every task you will have that one, right? The main, uh, every task, as I shown you, every task will have this control options. You are controlling this task basically. You are managing this task. Okay, so everything will have the same options, right? Only when all previous tasks have succeeded, means before this task there are three tasks. If the three are succeeded, then only run this task. Okay, run this even if a previous task has failed unless the build was cancelled. Okay, uh, only this will not run only when the build is not cancelled. Okay, but even though the previous task is failed, it will run. Even if a previous task has failed, even if the build was cancelled. So what does it mean? Even if you cancel the build, still it will run. Okay, only when a previous task has failed. Okay, only when if the previous task is failed, then only run this one. This is very unusual basically. So it probably is, you want to run some PowerShell scripts, or whatever it could be. It is up to developers requirement. A developer might have given you says that, hey, when this build solution task failed, do something. Okay, you might use some PowerShell script or whatever it is. The guys might ask you basically. And finally, if uh, if if the developer's requirement is not meeting by any one of these things, that's where custom conditions will come into picture. One of the custom conditions that we use is to choose when to, I mean, whether we need to run this task for a build for a branch or not. Okay, right now, I mean, I will have many more examples for this, but I'm just showing where we can do. Right now what I am saying, hey, okay, you have another condition. Anyways, I selected this dev branch, right? Where this concept will come master. That's what you are saying, right?
Yes.
Is that your okay?
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a valid doubt, right? Okay, my build definition is pointed to dev. This will never occur. This condition will never occur. That's what you say. But I tell you, yesterday when we go to the triggers, right? Okay, we enable the continuous integration. That's the reason whenever the developer is making push, this build pipeline is getting executed, right? For
Yes.
that reason, for that what we did, we added this branch builders dev, and I also included Kiran Hotfix train search release button as well. Now what does it mean? What it does mean, it means uh, run this branch, sorry, run this build definition even for this Kiran hotfix train search branch change as well.
Yes.
So right, uh, whether changes happen in the dev or Kiran, this this build pipeline will run, and it will override the branch setting in your sources basically. When we started using this, we selected the dev branch, right? It will be overridden by the branches configuration that is given here. Now you got it, whether this will come or not. Sorry.
No, I'm still confused.
Okay. Your doubt is that, hey, my build definition pointed to dev only. So that means whenever I queue a build, it will take the code from dev branch and it will run it. Right?
Yes.
Okay. But here I mentioned master. Then you say, hey, this is invalid, right? Uh, the build definition itself is pointing to dev. Why do you want to put the master?
Yes.
Right? But what I'm saying, hey, I can run this I can run this CI pipeline or this build pipeline for many for any branch other than what I mentioned here as well. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So how I am able to do that? How I can run how I can run this pipeline for any branch other than this dev as part of this configuration? This enables me to do that basically. If I can mention, let us say I mention, now I will go and mention master as well. Save. Now what is going to happen whenever I do change in my master, whenever I do change in my master branch? Okay, this build pipeline will occur, will trigger. Whenever I do some change in Kiran hotfix, this build pipeline will execute. Whenever I do some change in dev branch, this build pipeline will occur or will trigger, and it will override this branch setting here. that setting in here basically. You're getting me? Why do I need it? So that should be your question. Hey, why do I need to run this pipeline for all these branches? And why do I need to exclude some of these tasks uh, depends on the branch? These are the questions that you need to get basically. Okay, and this is the reason Visual Studio has given this custom condition as well. Now, what is the scenario for getting this? Okay, now if you think about your code, right? Be it a dev branch, be it a hotfix branch, be it master branch. Every branch will have the same projects, right? Okay, your
Yes.
code will change. The code inside your files will change because this is where the developers are writing the code, right? Okay,
Yes.
but the number of projects will be same, isn't it? In each branch, microservices, your journeys web, okay, and your unit test cases, and your solution name, nothing will change. The name of your solution will not change, project name will not change, and file number of files may change because that is what making change means. The developer may add a new code files, or he may modify the existing code files, right? These are the changes. But for your CI pipeline, only this matters: the project name and the solution file name matters basically. Okay, this will never change, isn't it? At least your solution file will never change across the projects, right?
Yeah, it won't
So
change.
let us say in dev branch, probably I added a new project. Let us say some middleware project in the dev branch. This may not be available in the main branch, master branch, because I haven't merged this dev with master. But the common one is your solution name. It will never change. So ultimately, what is happening here, each and every branch will have the same projects and same solution without any change in the name as well. So in principle, I can run the same pipeline for all the branches, right? I
Yeah.
don't need to create a one build pipeline for one branch. Let us say in your team you have some 10 feature branches. It doesn't mean that you have to create one build pipeline for each branch. If you go by this formula, right? If you go by this formula, you have to create one branch for Kiran, one branch for Lohit, one branch for Sahul, one branch for me, like that. Of course, you're not going to make any changes in the task, but you need to maintain it, right? Number of pipelines that you see here will keep on growing. It is not required basically. So you can utilize this option. Okay, uh, if you utilize this option, one single pipeline for all the branches. That's it.
Okay.
Got it? Using this continuous integration branch filters option, you will be able to utilize the same build definition or the same CI pipeline for all the branches in your repository. This is the advantage. And people used to, argue with me basically. Hey, you know, I asked the people, hey, why you want to do YAML? Uh, I mean, against this, classic editor basically. People argue with me, hey, Puna, and if you go with YAML, I can run multiple branches with the single pipeline. So, man, you are not exploring the features basically. Whenever you are arguing something, you need to do a comparison. Okay, okay, you have one feature in this platform. Compare it with the other platform if it is there or not. But don't simply say that it is not available, right? So people simply argue that because they don't know, they don't read actually. And it is very simple here. If you have to enable it in YAML, right, you have to write some 10 lines of code, which is a time consuming. Again, you will run into syntax issues, etc., etc. But I told you I will explain that YAML as well end of this one. Then you will figure out, hey, how difficult it is to write YAML definition, and how easy it is to do CI pipeline or CD pipeline using this classic editor. And what's the difference? You don't see any difference. This is all about people perception basically. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, now what are the things we did? we enabled we added master here as well. Okay, and then we added one custom condition in the public symbols path. And what I'm saying, hey, run this task only if the branch is master. And other thing what we did is test assemblies, right? We selected this impacted test, run only impacted test, and we try to do that change here. Purna, I think it should be now impacted. Okay, contact, right? It should have been now impacted. Changes. Hmm. So basically, you give a meaningful commit here. I mean, you means developers will give a meaningful name for that commit. Okay, but I'm just writing something. It should have been triggered now. Go to pipelines. It started here. Started. Let's go.
Puna, I had out.
Mhm.
We have enabled this run only impacted tests, right?
Correct.
So it is now the it is modified only in dev branch, right? In one particular
Yes.
code. So it will run that particular thing only, right? Even if you have mentioned the other branches in the trigger option, but it should run only the main this thing, right?
Okay, but I did not use that custom condition for this test assemblies. I use that custom condition for other
Okay.
one. I used for it basically. If you want to use that custom condition for test assemblies, you can use it. The custom condition is mentioned here,
No, no,
not
I'm
here.
asking. Okay. That no, I'm asking about the trigger option. Triggers.
Uh, yeah, trigger option. Triggers, you have it a dev as well, right? Now I made change in that dev branch. Obviously triggered. If I made
Yeah,
change
it
in the Kiran hotfix branch, it will trigger as well.
now I mean at present it will only trigger this dev branch. That's it, right?
Exactly, exactly. That's what you see
Yeah.
here, right? If you go
Yeah.
to here, this it is clearly showing right here,
Yeah.
repository and the
Dev.
version, your journeys, and the branch is dev. That's it.
Okay. If we remove that option, it will trigger all the other two branches also.
No, right? Whichever is changed, right? See,
No, no,
I
that's what.
committed
If I unselect that.
even if which one?
Okay,
This one?
understood, understood. Because you have enabled that option that yeah, these two, Kiran hotfix and master.
Yeah. So when this continuous integration will be triggered, whenever you made a change in the code and pushes it to the repository, right? If there is no
Yeah.
change, why this will trigger, right?
Yeah, that's what I understood. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Only when it change, well, only when the code changes, it will trigger.
It will trigger. Okay.
Okay. I think this is completed, right? 744. Okay, it is completed. Okay. And let's go and check that custom condition, right? Okay. Web. You see this publish symbols path, right? It is skipped actually. You see this. It is, if you look at the log, right? It is evaluating our condition. It evaluated. Okay. And then the result is false, right? And that's the reason this task is not executed in this pipeline. You got me? This symbol means it is skipped actually. I mean, this is successful and the X is not, I mean, failed, right? So one
Yeah.
condition, one change we verified here. The other one is uh, the code coverage. You already seen that code coverage. That anyways it is there, and and the test cases you see now. Total test you have two basically,
Other
right?
two logged out.
No, no. Here you see.
Yeah.
One passed and zero failed. Only one runs, one is te- tested base. I actually have two test cases, two unit test cases, if you remember, but only
Yeah. Right.
one is executed. If I go to
Oh,
my
because
previous builds,
okay,
yeah,
because of that condition,
exactly, because of the condition, right? Because since
the
I made a
impact.
change, so in this unit, I have two unit test cases. So the second one is commented. That's why it will not come. Okay. I have a index unit test case, and then as well as
Okay. For only
contact
one
unit
unit
test.
test case you changed, so it impacted, so it has run
It
that
has
only
run
on
only
that.
that one. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So that's so. So now
Uh,
what happens?
Purna,
Your
Ravi and
test,
Lohit is not disconnected.
they are disconnected. Okay, I will wait for some time. Okay, let them come. But you understood, right? How you are improving this?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I
Now,
understood, sir.
yeah.
But it is
Now, if
mandatory for us to run all the unit test cases at least once
it,
before this.
exactly right. Otherwise, what happens?
Yeah.
See, your pipeline is intelligent enough that hey, somebody pushed this code to the remote repository and continuous integration is enabled. That's the reason it is building the pipeline. Now
Yeah.
your Azure DevOps is having an intelligence to go and map that code in that commit with the unit test case methods as well. It has that intelligence. That's how it will analyze basically which are impacted. It will take care of all that stuff.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Now if I go to
Mm.
previous pipelines, right? If I go here, right, anything previous, go to test. This we enable today only. Okay. Did they come back?
No, Purna. I don't know. Suddenly both. Oh, power cut it seems for Ravi. So
Oh, okay, okay, okay. So see those impactors, right? So for us as a DevOps engineer, we don't need to give much attention to code, etc. Right? If they ask you, hey, I want to reduce my time like this, you can say that hey, this is one of the strategy, but we do this one only for during daytime. But in any case, we need to run all the unit test cases at the end of the day, right? Otherwise, see, sometimes what happens, your unit test case might be verifying against the database as well, right? Okay.
yeah,
If there are changes in the database, obviously that unit test case will fail, right? So there is no code change to your unit test case. There is no code, the actual code change. Okay.
okay,
In that case, the test case is not impacted, but the database is not covered by your system, right? That is a dynamic data, right? So
okay,
for those scenarios to cover, you need to run this unit test at least once in a day, probably when everybody leaves. But use this condition, or use this option, right? Only when the builds are taking, or when the unit test cases are taking hours and hours. But if it is
yeah,
taking, let us say, it is taking 2 minutes. Hey, it doesn't matter. Yeah, 2 minutes or 3 minutes doesn't matter, right?
yeah,
Or
right,
5 minutes, 5 minutes also doesn't matter. But anything more than 15 minutes, 20 minutes is a matter, because developer needs to wait for the results, isn't it? Or everybody waits to needs for results.
yeah, right.
Okay. Now, let's go and verify this one as well. Now I have done changes into the okay master. We'll go and do something in the master base. I cannot do the changes from master from visuals today because I protected that branch, right?
Yeah, protect branch policies
So
are
I
there.
cannot. Yeah. So what I do, I directly do it from the portal.
Oh, yeah, we can do it.
This is a workaround, right, for us. Okay.
Yeah.
So here, let me go and make some change anywhere. Okay. Anywhere for us, it doesn't matter, right? Okay, I made some change. Now what happens? The moment I commit, right? see, I'm already doing it in the remote branch. That's the reason you don't need to push it actually, right? It's
Yeah.
already remote. The moment you commit, what should happen? Your pipeline
Should run.
should run, and that one task is skipped for the previous run, right? That should be executing. Okay,
Yeah.
and the other one is uh, if you go to conditions, right? It will also verify, even though your build is your build definition or CI definition or whatever you call it, right, is pointed to dev. Because of this condition, this CI will still trigger basically. Single
Okay.
pipeline for many branches. So you are
Okay. But
basically,
it will directly trigger the master branch. That's it.
it will directly trigger the master branch. Now you will see it. Okay.
Okay.
Now let me commit this. This is a master branch. Right? Sorry. Now I'm taking, okay. Let's do it in the master.
Master. Yeah.
Okay. Let's do it in the master. Leave this so that we can verify both the conditions. Okay. Edit. In. Now this is master. Click this. Click this. Pushes to this branch are not committed. I enable that pull request, right? Okay, I have to do pull request only. Let's do one thing. We'll change this, right? Uh,
For
uh,
Kiran hotfix, I think you didn't do anything right.
yeah, let's do for Kiran. But I just want to change that two conditions, right? One that custom condition, another one is this one. I want to do the same for you. So
Yeah.
what you do? So let's go here and change this to this branch
Kiran
name, right?
hotfix. Yeah. Yeah.
Kiran Hotfix. Okay. For
Okay.
that, let me take this name basically. Go to repos, branches. I don't want to type it because typing will always give you wrong one basically. Okay, right. Let me copy. Go here. Let me verify it if it copied correctly or not. Okay, it's done. Save it. Save this. Now we are verifying two things. One is uh, same pipeline for all the branches. We are verifying by making change to our Kiran hotfix branch. The other one is this task is now going to run basically because I mentioned run this task only for Kiran hotfix train search. Okay. Now let me go and commit this. I I protected this branch as well. Let me remove that policy. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, Kiran hotfix, right? Okay. Sorry. Go back. Branches. Train search. Branch policies. It's already disabled, right? Branch
Yeah.
policies.
Only branch policies are there for master, I guess.
It's already disabled. Why it is giving me that error? Where is that? If I click this, oh, this is still
Oh,
master.
master.
Okay, edit, commit, commit. Done. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if you come back and close all these things, okay, come back to your pipelines. You see it is triggered. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Now you see here, it is running Kiran
Yeah. Yeah.
hotfix.
Yeah.
This is mentioned in our continuous trigger branch filters, but in our actual build definition, we mentioned dev actually, right?
Yeah. Right.
Now it is clear that for multiple branches, you can use the same pipeline.
Yeah.
Now you can go and verify that this task in our previous run, this is skipped actually, publish symbols
Yeah.
path. Now it is going to run because the condition will evaluate to true. See, if I run this, I can mention this one as well, right, for test assemblies as well. Hey, run this test assemblies unit test cases only for main branch, master branch, or like that. Or there might be some additional task added. Let us say you might have some PowerShell script added here, or there might be some other tasks added here. You need to run them only for specific branches, not for all the branches. Okay,
Yeah.
so the scenarios will be n number, right? There will be n number of functionalities. Okay, we don't know, right? And we cannot cover each and everything as well. Whenever that scenario comes, you just need to ask the developer. They will tell you, hey, I have this functionality, but I have this activity, but run it only for these branches. He will tell you basically. That's where you, as an admin, you will go and all these properties available in each and every task. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it test assemblies fail because you have that condition, right? I mean, the change. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if you go
Changes
to,
only one. Okay. Okay.
but okay, but here also you see, right? It did not go because the previous one is failed actually. What we do, just for our, for our verification, let's go and edit it. I will disable this for the time being.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Just for our, so that we can test this, isn't it? Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go and edit this. Let's say something, commit, done. Now it should have been triggered. It's triggered already.
Yeah.
It is queued. I mean, it is waiting for the infrastructure to be available. 4 seconds. Yeah, started. You see, it has run easy. Publish symbols for.
Yeah.
Earlier it was it was showing false, right? Now the condition is evaluated to true. That's the reason it has run that one actually. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's how. So what we covered today is how to use a single build pipeline for multiple branches by using continuous integration, attributes, the features available using the branch filter. Okay, branch filter option. Okay. Now other one
Yeah.
is how do you administer your task, when to run. So you can mention like for which branch you need to run this task. So the
Yeah.
default options available is run this task when previous task is succeeded only, or all
Yeah.
previous tasks are succeeded, such kind of thing. But you can also do your custom thing basically. Okay, this is
Okay.
useful. Okay,
Okay.
and other one is impacted unit test cases. Okay, so when do you need it? Let us say if your unit test cases are taking a huge time, like in 15 minutes, 1 hour, etc. Your developer
Okay.
cannot wait for that long for their pipeline to complete actually. Okay, that's
Okay.
during those scenarios you can discuss with your architect or lead or developer, hey, is it okay to run this build pipeline with only impacted unit test cases so that your time will be greatly improved. You don't need to wait for hours and hours, because once
Yeah.
they see the results, then only they can go back and do some additional changes, right? Otherwise it
Yeah.
will be waste of time for them as well.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So these are the scenarios that we covered. Okay, we'll get into, I can talk about scenarios while we are working on this, but the
Okay.
way you do will be the same basically. Okay, we'll discuss tomorrow the sonar cube. Okay,
Okay.
and its features tomorrow and in the next sessions. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh, Purna, any suggestion for this Azure fundamentals? Any guides or any material is there with you?
Actually, you are already learning the fundamentals.
Okay.
Okay. See,
Cloud.
fundamentals is yeah, cloud fundamentals, right? Now when we go
Yeah.
to CD pipeline, right, that's where we
Okay.
go and create the virtual machines. You will understand the networking concepts, you will understand the
Oh.
security concepts. Okay, and
Okay.
you will understand the storage concepts as well, and you will
Oh.
understand the PowerShell, how you going to execute. When you learn all these things, that means you already
Okay.
learned the administration basically to some level. Using
Okay.
that knowledge and using that experience, you go and explore other areas as well. Okay.
Okay. Sure. Sure.
See, the problem here is that if you go and put numbers like, I have a 10 items, I need to complete 10 items, you will not be able to finish those 10 items, because
Yeah.
you do not get interest. The reason, you do not know what is the purpose of those one, two, three, four items basically.
Yeah. Okay.
So I mean, it's all about scenarios, right? How you can help the developers. Okay, even
Yeah.
developers, it's all about purpose, right? See, the developers or architects, they need to write the code, or they need to design the application or architect the application to help the
Yeah.
business, isn't it?
Yeah.
If that
Yeah.
is not helpful for the business, nobody is going to give you work,
Yeah.
isn't it? So
Yeah.
it's all about scenarios and the benefits.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, then Sahul, I mean, we'll close for today and we'll start, tomorrow the sonar cube stuff. Okay.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks.